Hey, what would it mean for your business if we could target the customers and advertise to them that are walking into your competitor's location right now? I mean, ads on their phones as they're on site and then continue to market to them after they leave. What this allows you to do is just swipe sales from your competitors right as the credit card is coming out. And I believe the highest quality prospect that you could advertise to, that you spend advertising dollars on, is someone that's ready to pull out their credit card, ready to make a purchase. This is, by very definition, a laser targeted prospect. We call it ready buyer radar. Now, if your customer can be tracked physically to a location prior to buying, we can use ready buyer radar to snatch them away from your competitors. This structure is proprietary. We're using satellites, we're using cell phone towers, we're using apps on phones, 4 different systems that are overlaid to make ready buyer radar happen. And it is proprietary. But what it will allow you to do is swipe buyers from your competitor's location and drive them back to you right as the credit card is coming out of the wallet. It's almost unfair. In fact, here's an example. The system was actually built for title companies to steal real estate agents from other title companies. But how would you like to legally steal customers that are on your competitor's location? We tag their phone. We can advertise to that phone forevermore and just bring them along. And here's a visual representation of what a title company might look at. These are different real estate agents that might be somewhere within the market area. And we can target and tag cell phones that are in those locations. We can show advertisements for the companies and then pull all those people over to your business. And that's what it looks like. And this is how we do it. We show them ads on all their devices. These are these small, what we call programmatic ads that you see on your phones and in your apps. And this is how we convert and bring people over. In fact, here's just some quick numbers straight out of the chute of a Mercedes-Benz dealer in the southern part of the United States. And they targeted 1, 2, 3, 4 other car dealerships. We drew a circle around these dealerships using the satellite technology. Every time a consumer walks onto one of these lots with their cell phone on and are there 20 minutes, we can tag their phone. Infiniti had 526 people tagged at their lot. Lexus 324, Audi 164, and BMW 70. Obviously, the foot traffic is highest in Infiniti. But if someone leaves the Infiniti dealer and comes to the Mercedes dealer, which is the company that's running this, it counts as a conversion. So they got 20 people to come from the Audi dealer to the Mercedes-Benz dealer, 6 from Lexus, 4 from Audi, and 3 from BMW. And it's very, very powerful. These guys were tracking people who were in market and in a buying mode. They also decided to track a Center for Performing Arts, which is obviously a place that attracts their type of buyers, Mercedes-Benz owners. Now, it didn't work in the very first month, but as this moved on 3 months down the road, this became a very powerful location as these people came into that ready buyer type of a mindset. So very powerful stuff. This dealership, this Mercedes-Benz dealership, claimed they closed 40% of people who show up on their lot. So we brought them 37 different car buyers. That turned out to be 17 or 18 cars purchased for this Mercedes-Benz dealer. Of course, it's powerful. Of course, they added 2 more competitors' locations, and they continued to run the process. Very, very powerful stuff. And here's another thought process that you want to think of is offense versus defense. Because our proprietary program only leases a location to one business at a time, you can protect your location from your competitors. And so if someone went in to sell to that Lexus dealer and Lexus wanted to target the Mercedes-Benz dealer, it can't be done because it is already leased out. So it keeps your competitors from plucking your buyers right as all of your marketing efforts come to fruition and are ready to go. So you can not only steal customers from your competitors right as all of their marketing dollars have done all the work and they're ready to buy, but you can lock them out and keep them from doing the same thing to you. It's very, very powerful. Well, what if they aren't quite ready to buy? We saw that the Infiniti dealer had tagged 300 and something and only 40 of them came. These are people who aren't quite ready to buy, And so if that's the case, we take the buyers and we drop them in what we call a conversion ecosystem. And we'll talk about the details of that here in just a minute. But what that does is that continues to nurture and bring these these car buyers or whatever you're selling along. And when they're ready to buy, then you have a recency bias because they see your ads last on their phones and they choose you. Well, of course, we mentioned this already. This allows you to leverage your competitors' advertising efforts and spending and take those clients away right when they're ready to buy and they are in your sales system, not your competitors. Let's talk just a minute about this conversion ecosystem, and it starts with websites that aren't converting. A lot of business owners we talk to are very frustrated. They've got a conversion on their website. They want their visitors to click or maybe to call or to put in contact information, convert in some way. And what we see across the board is website conversions are anemic. Most sites experience maybe 5 to 10% conversion, meaning 90 to 95% of the people that you brought to your website bounced. You can't continue to sell to them. It's a lot like the sand sifter over here on the right. You're trying to scoop up a big load, but man, it's running out the bottom before you can do anything about it. And I wonder, what did that non-conversion actually cost you? What resources did you spend to get that potential customer to your website? What's the opportunity cost of not selling them? Not being able to take that revenue and plowing it back into an advertising campaign that helps you grab market share and own your marketplace. And what if they left you after you woke them up, helped them decide to buy the product that you sell, and then they bounced past you and went to your competitor and bought? What does that do for them? Obviously strengthens their ability to do that same advertising campaign to gain that same market share that you covet, bouncing you out of business. It is very, very, very impactful. And I think even further about this, there's an old adage that says you can count the seeds in an apple versus you can't count the apples in a seed. We can talk about the fact that whatever it is you sell, this isn't the last time that these customers are going to buy that thing. So they can come back and buy from you again and again and again. So what's the lifetime value of that customer? And then what about the referrals? When you have an awesome experience for them, they're going to, of course, become an evangelist and push everyone they know to your business. And what's the value of that? On and on and on. It's the apples in the seed. Well, there is a cost to it, but let's talk about how we fix it. Human nature does follow a buying process. And over here on this letter line on the left side, A, is the first time your potential customer thinks, maybe I should buy that thing. Okay, just for instance, maybe it's a home. And they think to themselves, maybe I'll buy a house right now. And then they start thinking, all right, at that point, it's should I buy or should I rent? And when they decide to buy, they start thinking, well, maybe I'll wait and buy later. Maybe should I buy a newer home or an older home? As they pass through this, maybe around age, they start asking friends and associates for recommendations. And they continue to stew on this, what's the value of owning a home, the tax deduction, all those things. And then round about the middle here at M and N, they're narrowing the solution options down through process of elimination. Round about Q, R, and S, they're getting ready to buy. And at T, they decide, hey, I'm going to buy this thing. What they don't know is who they're going to buy it from and when the timing will be just right. And so this is when most people get in the game and start advertising really hard, when we've got someone who is ready to buy. And then over here on the far right side, Z is when the money actually changes hands. And so everyone who's buying your thing has to go from A to Z through their own process at their own speed. And we want to help nurture and incubate them to get them from A to Z. But what becomes a little more complicated about the vendor selection process that's going on over here at W, X, is how they're choosing who they trust. And let's talk a little bit about the power of becoming the obvious choice and how that happens, because relevance to your market is a process for them individually. First, you must become known. Then if you're known, you have a chance to become liked. If you've got a great business, you do things right. And if you're liked, you might become the trusted provider. And this is the catbird seat. This is the place where you want to be when you're the obvious choice, when they would be an absolute fool to give money to anyone else. And in fact, they become that evangelist I mentioned, where they're pushing their friends and their relatives and their father-in-law to you because they're scared to let them go anywhere else. This is a great place to be. Well, through marketing, marketing we hear, and these numbers keep getting bigger and bigger. The experts are telling us that a consumer needs 8 to 14 exposures to your business. We call them touches to arrive at this position. And if you don't have that number of touches, you just don't have a chance to become relevant, to become known, liked, and trusted. And we run this on a number line. And of course, over here on the left, 1, 2, a couple of exposures to your brand. They hear of you, you start to become known. As you move through this, maybe 8 or 9 touches and exposures, you become liked. You have a chance at this point. As they get more exposure, 13, 14, 15 exposures to you, you become trusted. Now, this becomes a real challenge because most salespeople give up after 1 exposure. Maybe the real hardball guys go to 2 or 3 and then they give up, which is really crazy because people don't buy until 8 or 9 or 10. And so we have to use marketing to put these touches in front of your potential customers so they're ready to buy when the salesperson is actually there. But this is a separate cadence. This goes separately from the letter line that we talked about, is that's going to be their decision to buy the thing. This is them becoming familiar with you, knowing, liking, and trusting. And again, it moves at a separate pace. So I'd like to just overlay it on the number line with the letter line. And hopefully they find you, they get their first exposure right about N, so that you can start getting some touches and some exposure, and they can start to know you and like you. And ideally, right when it's vendor selection time and they're choosing who to buy from, you've had 14 or 15, you're the trusted person, and they buy from you. Now, what's the chances of it lining up perfectly like that? And I don't think it's very good. When the consumer's buying process, when did you become known? Maybe they heard of you for the first time when they were standing here at T. And if that's the case, man, you've got some work to do to become even trusted, not to mention the obvious choice. And this is why you have so many visitors at your website. They're bouncing through, and why it feels like a leaky bucket with more holes in it than you know what to do with. And it's not just your website's fault. I talk to a lot of business owners that are like, hey, should I just get a better website? Man, it might help, but you got to know there's a lot of other things in play other than just the colors and the graphics and the pictures and the layout of your website. So it's not just your website's fault. Maybe they hear of you. Maybe they heard someone on Facebook say, man, use that person. They're fantastic. So they go to do their own due diligence. They go to your website, and it's their third or fourth exposure. And of course, they're going to bounce off because you are barely even known, not to mention liked or trusted. And so let's overlay this maybe with when they might come into play, when they might get first exposure to you, is maybe when they're at U or V in the buying process. Now, here's the tough thing. Over here, they make a vendor selection choice at about X or Y. They only have been exposed to you 6 times. You don't have a chance. You're barely even known. And so your only hope is maybe they'll buy from you next time. Maybe you can stay top of mind long enough that whenever they're back to buy again, they might consider you. Well, let's fix it. So let's think about this. Why did that last person who came to your website but didn't convert, what made them leave? No one really knows. But perhaps it was only their third exposure, like that graphic showed just a second ago. But what we can do is we can overlay psychological factors to narrow this down and try to scratch the itch that they might have had that kept them from converting and sent them away. We know that there are 3 factors that keep people from converting. One of them is trust. They can't find third-party reputation validation. I've seen websites where they have literally 1,000 customer reviews, but it's buried, and you have to just go find a certain little icon to click on the site. The customer's not going to see that, and so they bounce. Some of these people have made a decision of what they're going to buy, and now they're just out shopping for the right deal. Maybe they want, the very best value they can find. Maybe they're looking for a buy one, get one free. Maybe they just want a discount. And then thirdly, sometimes they were looking for a less promoted service that you offer, something you have on the back page of your site, not up front, or they just needed some branding. They just needed more touches with you. So what we provide is something we call Conversion Rescue, where we build this conversion ecosystem. It's an incubator for the people that you're hoping to buy your products. And this is what a conversion ecosystem consists of. And I've already given you a hint to it. We provide 5-star reputation information to your potential customers. We provide special offers and deals. Why not? They've left you already. Let's try and get them back. And we want to do product branding or product alternatives to make sure that they get the very best chance to actually buy from you. And the way that we do it is when they come to your website, we have the ability to tag their web browser and sell to 100% of the people that were there. We can continue to tell the story that you have long after they leave and continue to tell it to them maybe for, in this case, a 90-day period of time. And you may have seen this thing. Some people call it retargeting or remarketing, where maybe you were on Amazon shopping for a pair of shoes and you didn't buy them. But man, next time you show up on a common website, there's a picture of your shoes over on the right side of your browser, or maybe in an app that you're using on your phone. Well, the bad thing about it is most of these remarketing or retargeting programs are only using one picture. They're making a guess that if you just saw that picture of those shoes again, you'd remember, oh, I'm going to go buy those shoes. Well, there was a reason you didn't. And so you become banner blind. You see that thing so many times that it no longer registers in your subconscious mind. And so we overcome banner blindness and we scratch those 3 psychological factors of why they didn't convert using this conversion ecosystem, where we create 10 different types of ads and we run it at them in alternating sequence over 90 days. So maybe in the first 3 or 4 days, we give them a flat discount offer, hoping to get those people that were looking for the deal. Maybe the next, 7 days, we give them a reputation ad. And this actually converts very well, the reputation ad, because they're just looking for somebody to trust and they want to get to the buy. Maybe in the second week, we go ahead and do a free something or another to get them to come in the door. Give them a reputation ad the following week. Maybe we do a product branding ad for your company, or maybe an alternative product the next week. And you see what happens. We change to a different product the next week. Give them another discount the week after that. The following week after that, we give them another reputation ad. And, again, the following week discount offers, product branding, and a discount over whatever's a relevant buying cycle for your customer. But we are all over them, follow them all around. And what it feels like is that you're everywhere. We'll get to there in a minute. But we deliver these ads on phones, on tablets. We can get them on their personal and work devices. If we're using Ready Buyer Radar, these ads will jump from their phone without ever having clicked, just being in a location, and we can not only be showing on their phones, but we'll jump to their personal home computers, their tablets, and we can continue to sell to them. And you'll see that over here we generate 10 different ad sizes for each of those 10 ads, because there are big ad networks on these apps and websites, and we want to be wherever there's a space. And so we've got networks that give us access to 95% of the available windows. Again, lower caliber remarketing, retargeting programs give you 30 on Google's network, but there's so much more we're going to deliver there. And it's different ads. And man, it leaves your customer to think these guys are everywhere. They must have an amazing advertising budget. But what it is we've just built that conversion ecosystem around them. And so we're only everywhere for the right buyer. Well, and then I talked about this. Tap into recency bias. Tap into that thing where human beings will remember to buy the last person that they saw. And so be the most recent vendor they saw right before they buy. We show them 3 to 6 of these ads every single day until they're ready to buy. So we bring it along. Well, that's a little bit about what we do. But what if for you, would this be right? I don't know. What is your revenue per sale? What is the lifetime value of that conversion? How many times are they going to buy in their lifetime? And then what about referrals? And what is it really costing you right now for not having a conversion ecosystem in place, for having 90 to 95% of your web visitors bouncing past, not having a pixel on them, not being able to continue to tell your story long after they go, being there in place when they're ready to buy? Well, this is expensive. Generally, if you are paying to get traffic to your website, you want to talk to us, meaning you're running a pay-per-click campaign. Maybe you're in the mail. Maybe you run a billboard campaign. Maybe you're in Google Ads. Maybe you're in Facebook. But if you're paying for traffic, you want to talk to us. If your revenue per sale is big, but you don't run a ton of traffic, you still want to talk to us. because I want you to know we are unable to serve everyone. We are busy, our time is limited, and we can only add a handful of companies each month. So we run an application process to make sure that we are preserving your time and ours to see if what you offer in your business is something where we can come in and hit it out of the park. And so we have an application process we have to see about the potential fit for a working relationship. Go ahead and find it here on the page, fill it out, we'll get back to you. And if it looks like we have a potential fit, we'll get on the phone and discuss this and see if it might work.